Hello, I'm Darren Hardy, entrepreneur mentor and publisher of Success Magazine, and I want to welcome you to Insane Productivity. This is a 12-part series on how to achieve extreme levels of personal productivity. This is where you'll learn to produce insane results, insanely fast, sanely. Welcome to Module 11. All right, are you ready to improve your life? This is the session where we're going to talk about the vital improvements you might need to make and how to go about it to take you in the direction of your greater goals and objectives. Having been in the personal improvement business for 20 years, I have a very specific system for developing myself and my skills. In this session, I'm going to share with you my system for personal improvement. I think this is such an important topic that I'm going to give you some extended training on this topic that we did not have time to cover during the summit. And yes, I will still hit the content that you see on the slide deck and the blanks in your workbook, so be listening along for that. But I will go deeper and expand on what was laid out for the summit curriculum. All right, the first key point is we need to learn less and study more. Somebody commented to me on my Facebook page at the beginning of the year that I inspired them to improve themselves and they were going to read 32 books this year. I responded with, well, I'm delighted to hear you're inspired to expand your self-improvement. Instead of reading 32 books, I would rather you read one book 32 times. Or let's just say 4 books 8 times, or at most 8 books 4 times. You see, we get into this addiction of reading the next book, completing it, and feeling satisfied with ourselves that we've done something, and we just pick up the next book and start reading again. All the while, we've done nothing with what we've learned. We keep learning, and doing nothing new. There's a significant difference between learning and improving, and the difference is results. Have you ever been to a seminar, listened to an audio program, or read a book that promised life-transforming results in 90 days or less, and it didn't happen? Yeah, I know, me too. We have a tendency to say, oh, that book, that CD, that program, that seminar, it didn't work. No, it wasn't the material that didn't work. You didn't do the work. Knowledge is not power. That's a myth. It is the potential of power, yes, but it is not power in and of itself. It is not what you learn or what you know. It is what you do with what you know and learn. Doing has to follow learning. Knowing what to do is not the same thing as doing what you know. There are a lot of people who read all the books, listen to all the audio programs, and go to all the seminars, but their life never improves. The world is filled with broke geniuses, smart people who don't produce. As the philosopher Morpheus from The Matrix said, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Here, I'll walk you through my personal development plan and the process of how I turn learning into study and study into improvement and results. My personal development plan is simple. I call it my 1-1-5-3-1-30-30-10-10 plan. Don't worry, it's a lot simpler than it sounds. Let's first talk about selection. How I go about selecting what I want or need to improve so that my learning, study, and growth is purposeful and on target with my big goals. So, the first one is to identify my most important goal for the quarter. I break my yearly goal achievement plans into 4 quarterly themes. In each quarter, I focus on a particular area of my life or skill that I want to improve. Examples might be my marriage, or health, or keynote speaking, or even interviewing. I research online and reach out to my personal network for recommendations on the best resources for improving that discipline or skill. The second one in my plan is what one skill am I going to focus on this quarter that will help me accomplish my one most important goal that quarter. Then I immediately go out and buy the top 5 books, the top 3 audio programs, and sign up for at least one seminar on that topic during that quarter. That's the 5-3-1 part of the program. If you aren't sure what books, CDs, or seminars you should get, just ask the top people in your industry. Likely, they will have read the books, listened to the CD programs, and been to the seminars. If you want the results others have, you'll need to learn what others have learned, improve yourself like others have improved themselves, and grow like others have grown. Now, I can hear you saying to yourself, where do you get all the time to do all this personal development stuff? I'm busy. I don't have time to just sit around reading all these books and listening to all these CDs and going to these seminars. That's what you were thinking, wasn't it? Well, I'm busy too. I've been busy all my life, but yet I still get tons of personal development in, and it takes very little time at all. Here's how I do it. It's a lot simpler than you think, as most things are. First thing I do in the morning is, after I put on a pot of coffee and do a quick little 8-minute stretch routine Dr. Oz taught me, I sit down in my favorite chair with a freshly brewed hot cup of coffee, and instead of reading the newspaper and filling my head with wars, scandals, murders, and corruption, I take one of my top 5 books for the quarter related to the one skill that I'm working on, align with my most important goal for that quarter, and I set my iPhone timer for 30 minutes. No more, no less. An important side note here is you can't allow yourself to read for more than 30 minutes. If the time starts to slide to 45 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, the next time you think about reading a book, your brain will say, "We don't have time for that," and it will be right. Keep the discipline of only 30 minutes. No more, no less, each morning, first thing in the morning. Then the next 30 is associated to your listening time. And this happens in your net time. Net meaning no extra time. You want to find times when your hands or your body is busy, but your mind is free. Like when you're driving. The average person drives about 12,000 miles a year. That means you are spending 300 hours inside your car. This is perfect CD learning time. Jim Rohn taught me to turn my car into a mobile classroom. Do you know that it takes about 990 hours to complete a PhD? That means in only 3 years, during the time you are already going to be spending, meaning no extra time, you can complete the equivalent of a PhD in whatever you want. A PhD in sales, a PhD in leadership, a PhD in communication, influence, speaking, entrepreneurship, marketing, whatever your fancy. I've often said my car won't move without gas in the tank and a CD in the changer or my iPhone plugged in playing something for self-improvement. Net time could also be while you run, exercise, walk the dogs, stand in line, commute on planes, trains, or buses, whenever your body might be busy but your mind is free. I treat my personal development learning like a race. I'm trying to outlearn my contemporaries. I'm looking for every moment I can marinate my brain, something inspirational, empowering, instructional, or abundant or prosperity based. No moment is going to go wasted. Before I get to the 10-10 part of the plan, let me delve a little deeper into how I turn learning into study. Let's start with book study. I don't just read a book, I consume it. When I'm done with a book, it looks like it's gone through a meat grinder. I will underline, circle, star, inscribe, bolded exclamation marks, dog ear, highlight, put sticky tabs all over it, and write notes in the margins at the end of the chapters and in the back of the book. Don't treat a book like a piece of fragile museum art. Treat it like a workbook. Make your mark in it. A book is meant to be used, not viewed. Now let me give you a few additional tips. Don't attempt to do everything suggested in the book. Reduce the book down to the best 3 ideas for you. And then just pick one idea that you will immediately implement this week. Write out what it is and set a time to review the results a week later. Practice that idea for a few weeks until you've mastered it or it has produced the results that you sought, and then maybe pick another idea and practice it for another week to 3 weeks. If all you did was implement, measure, review, and improve upon one idea from every book you read, your results would improve dramatically. By contrast, I think you'd be surprised how little impact all your learning has had on your life up till now. Then finally, to squeeze all the benefit from the book, I go back through the book and pull out all the notes, highlights, and underlined key points and transfer them into my knowledge bank. My knowledge bank consists of a document system organized by topic, topics like leadership, sales, fitness, nutrition, communication, etc. This is why I have virtually unlimited access to the best ideas because I have every key idea I've ever studied, thought, or discovered organized by topic. Next, let's talk about audio study. I load the entire program into my car system. I will listen to an audio program, if I like it the first run through, at least 5 to 6 times. This is a key point. A single run through will have very little impact on you and your results. Each time you will hear it differently, and you will be thinking and experiencing different things in your life. So it's important that you go through it multiple times. It's better to listen to a single program that you like over and over again, deepening your experience, than it is to move on to the next program and have it have another shallow impact. I've mentioned before that I've listened to Jim Rohn's Challenge to Succeed program now maybe 100 times. I have it in my car right now, in fact. This is why I'm encouraging you, if you like the Compound Effect audio program or this one here with Insane Productivity, I recommend listening to it at least 5 to 6 times over and over so that you don't just hear it, but so that it seeps down into your consciousness. And then the process is the same as a book. Pick out the 3 best ideas from the entire program. Get one implemented right away. Then review and improve upon it throughout the week before you select and start with the next idea. Now let's talk about seminar study. All my seminar notes go into my journal, not the seminar materials given at the seminar that you end up putting on a shelf and never looking at again. You can start there, but be sure that the notes come out of the materials and into your journal. One of the most important tips I can give you about attending and benefiting from seminars is to pay attention to what great ideas are being delivered from stage, but also what ideas well up inside you. There's an incredible dynamic that happens when you enter an environment of higher-minded learning with hundreds of active participants. It creates an elevated environment that will stimulate your own inner creativity. Pay attention and document what ideas surface for you, even if it doesn't have anything to do with what's being discussed on stage. The ideas that will arise from within you can be the best benefits you will gain from the seminar. And then do the same process as the book or the audio program. Pick the best 3 ideas, get one implemented right away, review and improve upon it before starting on the next idea. Then be sure to transfer all the notes from the seminar materials into your journal and then from your journal into the files of your knowledge bank. So let me give you a 5-point summary for turning learning into results. It's 1. Study, 2. Extract, 3. Act, 4. Measure, and 5. Improve. Let me walk you through those again. 1. Study. Focus your areas to improve. 2. Extract. Pick out the 3 best ideas. 3. Act. Implement one now. 4. Measure. Track improvement along the way. And 5. Improve. Adjust, practice, and act again on those improvements over and over again. Now, the final 10 and 10 comes from a principle that I learned from Brian Tracy when I was only 18 years old. It was one of the most pivotal success principles I've ever learned. No doubt, this one principle has made me millions of dollars over the last 20 years. Here is what I call the multi-millionaire investment formula. This is the critical investment plan Brian Tracy taught me 20 years ago. He said, of course, take 10% of everything you earn and tithe it to help other people. We've learned that before. It's an ancient tradition, using part of your good fortune to help others who can't help themselves. Then the other 10 is, take another 10% and use it to help yourself. Invest it in your own greater personal development. I've used and abided by this principle ever since then. I'm almost superstitious about it, in fact. I have to plot and scheme for how I'm going to use my 10% and reinvest it in myself each year. If I don't, I'm afraid I won't keep outproducing each year as I have since I was 18 years old. You see, when I earned $150,000 as a teenager, it was $15,000 that I had to spend on my greater personal development. When you start earning 500,000, that's 50,000 a year. When you earn over $1 million, that's 100,000 to spend on your personal development. This is why I think you see world-class achievers hiring world-class personal coaches, advisors, and mentors. It is truly the most profitable investment you can make. I can vouch for that. And the more you produce, the more you make, the more you have to reinvest. To not do so, well, it scares me to think about it. Look, you have to understand that you are the greatest investment opportunity there is out there. This is the promise Brian gave me. For every dollar you invest in yourself and your personal development, it will return $30 to your bottom line. That's 30 to 1. Even if you are the most experienced investor, where can you get a nearly guaranteed 3,000% on your money? Compare it to the investment returns of the past several years, and well, 3,000% looks much better, right? This is what Jim Rohn taught me a long time ago. Income seldom exceeds personal development. Therein lies the key to growing your income, growing yourself. You have to grow into your goals. Let me say that again because it's important wisdom. You have to grow into your goals. The only way you can achieve more than you ever have is to become more than you've ever been. Essentially, training, coaches, and other personal development materials are free. If they help you earn more and become more than you would have without them, they effectively pay for themselves and give you a multiple on your money. 30 times by Brian Tracy's estimate, and I'm here to testify that it's true. When evaluating the investment in your personal development, don't ask what it costs. Instead, ask what is it worth in increased health, wealth, happiness, and success. Jim Rohn would say, never begrudge the money you spend on your personal development. It's the best investment you can make. Here's how this works. The level of success that we experience in our outer world is simply the reflection of our self-identity and our personal development of our inner world, period. Let me use the analogy of a thermostat to try to make this make some sense. Thermostats have what is called a set point, the set temperature you want for the room. So now, no matter what happens outside, hot or cold, the thermostat will kick on either the heat or the air conditioner to bring the temperature of the room back to the set point. Inside each of us is also a set point. This is your current level of self-worth or personal development. No matter what happens outside, temporary financial windfall, finally losing those 20 pounds, marriage goes well, you will always adjust back or sabotage to your set points. We all do this. Simply put, you will only ever have, be, do, or maintain on the outside what matches your inside set point, your personal development set point. When you raise your set points, your personal development, your self-identity, your mindset, your attitude, your philosophy, your skills, and your abilities, everything in your life will be raised with them. This is why Jim Rohn gave us these pivotal instructions. If you want to have more, you have to become more. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. If you improve, everything will improve for you. If you grow, your money will grow, your relationships, your health, your business, and every external effect will mirror that growth in equal correlation. Here's my final appeal to have you invest more in you. If you have big goals, big dreams, big ambitions, I encourage you to make the size of your personal development investment to match the size of your goals, if you're serious about achieving them. Otherwise, they might remain just frustrating fantasies. So let's wrap up this module with a homework assignment. You do want to produce results with your knowledge, don't you? Then it will require doing some work with it. First off, pick a skill. Pick one. What one skill, if you developed and executed excellently, would have the greatest impact on your career or life? If you're unsure what one skill you need to improve the most, ask your boss, or coworkers, or staff, or spouse, or friends. I'm sure they have some great ideas on what you need to improve. Once you identify it, attack it. Go buy 5 books, 3 CDs, or DVD programs and sign up for one seminar focused on that skill. Read one of those books for 30 minutes a day and listen to that audio program for 30 minutes as you drive around. Study, implement, review, and improve. Iterate your improvement over and over until you've achieved some level of mastery on it. Stick with it for at least a quarter, then move on to the next skill. Look, and I say if because it's possible this doesn't describe you, and that's okay. But if you truly want to access and magnify your inner greatness and achieve truly insane results, then know that the idea of deliberate and constant improvement is serious work and will require a serious commitment from you. A desire for improvement is not enough. Simply taking lessons from a wonderful mentor is not enough. Deliberate improvement requires a mindset of never, ever being satisfied with your current ability. It requires a constant self-critique, a capacity for daily disappointment, and to see failure as something you desire as it informs you about how to improve, and a never-ending resolve to just dust yourself off and try again, and again, and again. It also requires enormous, life-altering amounts of time and energy, a daily grinding commitment to becoming better. In the long term, the results can be highly satisfying, but in the short term, from day in and day out, and month in and month out, there's nothing particularly fun about the process or the substantial sacrifices involved. As Anders Ericsson wrote in the Cambridge Handbook of Expertise and Expert Performance, he said, there's a clear distinction between leisure players who intend to enjoy themselves casually much of the time and the dedicated achievers who become glued to the gritty process of getting better. This is what separated Einstein, Mozart, Da Vinci, Tiger Woods, Bill Gates, the Beatles, Elvis, Michael Phelps, Roger Federer, and many others whom history will remember from everyone else. This is what will separate you from everyone else in your family, on your block, in your office, and in your marketplace. Here's the journey you are on, a relentless, never-ending search for the best within you. Never stop. There's no telling what you could do or what you could mean to those who know you, and maybe even those who don't know you, but your greatness can touch their lives in some meaningful way. That's what I want for you. So this week, pick your one skill and then get started on your personal development plan. Okay, in our next and final session together, we're going to talk about what will make or break your ability to implement and stick to the principles you've learned through this course. We will discuss the most powerful, subtle, and profound influence in your life. Plus, I will show you how to build a fortress around you, around your goals and around your dreams and around your family that nothing can penetrate. This will be an important final module for us to journey through together. Until then, I wish you an insanely great day.
Insane Productivity was designed and delivered by Darren Hardy. Copyright Darren Hardy. All rights reserved. For more information about Darren Hardy, his books, programs, and success resources, or to hire him to speak at your conference or train your leadership team, visit darrenhardy.com. Insane Productivity was recorded and edited by Richard Del Maestro of Studio Del Maestro.